Yes, we're recording. All right, so I dragged Mark out here, and we're on your dad's grandfather's farm. Is that correct?
My my grandfather's farm.
Yes, your dad's dad. All right. And can you explain the Box N Ranch? We're in north central North Dakota.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you want me to explain the name of the brand or?
I don't know. Guess we're here on site where Mark didn't grow up. His parents lived here for 20 years.
Dad grew up here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he grew up on site here. This was not this house. We talked about the the basement foundation. The old house with that old foundation was on this site. It was a two-story house, and this is just the ranch, a ranch-style house. Excuse the pun. But yeah, he grew up on site, and the box N is simply take the letter N, the first letter of her last name, and enclose the open ends of it, and you have a box around the letter N, and that's where that came from. So it's actually the cattle brand that they use to brand their cattle.
And that barn behind us has the Box N Ranch on it. We're out here at the end of September 2022. Pandemic is over. Mark is faced with, his dad was one of the early beer can collectors. He was, do you know his BCCA number?
17.
17. There's correspondence, and I'm here. I've been lucky enough that Mark trusted me to come up as a buddy of his dad's in the days of correspondence, and I did get an email from his mother, who has since passed in 2011, but we've been corresponding, and I'm sure he has some of my letters somewhere, but I'm trying to help Mark get ahead around all the accumulation that his dad has acquired over the many decades of himself collecting. And in the early days, as I was telling Mark, many collectors got multiples of regional beers because they would go to conventions and trade equal 1-for-1 for brands from the other collectors' area. So this morning, I went out to that barn there, and there are cattle stalls filled full of, I don't know, it could be garbage, but with anything, Mark is, like his dad, gathered and wants to wrap his head around it and sort through it. So there is a lot of garbage and some mouse-eating casualties and things that make a collector's heart a little sad, but also happy. That's the yin-yang of collecting. So I told Mark we had to come out on the porch for a brief lesson and a discovery this morning in this barn behind us. And we start with this mirror, Hamm's preferred stock, and this was reintroduced, or maybe, yeah, reintroduced in the early 70s, maybe 71 to 74. It's got the old retro look, Hamm's pre-pro eagle logo, and they've got the Hamm's in script like the logo of old, and it was just a kind of a nondescript plain, but that type of design had its own aesthetic or school, so they wanted it to make look old and old-time lager flavor and stuff. And this is kind of ignored by collectors. The stuff's in demand, but not highly, and they put out millions of cans. So, why I asked Mark out here, here's one of their millions of cans that they put out. And I bet, like the Oktoberfest mugs, there's a 73 version and a 74. I've turned over 200 1973 versions looking for that elusive 474. No luck. Well, this can has a similar equivalent. What is the difference, you say? I could probably hand this to Mark with any other can. I don't know, Barry, I can't tell the difference. Well, in North Dakota, there were certain alcohol or brands that were supposedly sent up here so that the local brewery wouldn't taint their name if the brand or the beer or the batch failed. They wouldn't poison their own home market area. Well, Hamm's preferred stock was distributed, I don't know if it was nationwide. Hamm's wanted to go nationwide, but this is just a nondescript Hamm's preferred stock can. But I have turned hundreds of these over. Do you see any difference? Look above the word beer. Just one word, right? It's not much of a difference, it wouldn't appear. I mean, this is like any other billions of other cans. But this strong beer supposedly was only distributed up in North Dakota, that it would have it painted on the label. And I don't know if this is the only one or if the other 5 are in there, but with this can, I'm basically handing Mark $500.
Really?
Yo.
Oh my.
So that's going to stay in the house, probably get shined up, put on the fridge.
Oh.
But out there this morning, digging through that, and I mean amongst just garbage, was this lone example.
So that's strong right there.
One word.
Hmm.
So that is why we come
Wow.
for the joy of discovery. So this is like an antique roadshow type moment. Mark, I'm so glad that you invited me here today. There are things your father has that are just exquisite, but this being one of them. I have looked at hundreds of cans, and to find this example, this rarity, is a wonder. So we're here to share it from the Box End Ranch. I'm Barry. This is Mark. Hope you enjoyed this.